Welcome to another episode of Stuck in My Mind podcast. I am your host, WIZE. It's been a while. I know I've been out for a month or so. I'm excited to be back. I'm feeling well. Everything, surgery and everything went well. So I'm just excited to be back. So let's just jump right into it. My next guest is a seasoned executive, entrepreneur, and author whose remarkable journey from a humble farmhand to a top finance executive has inspired many. With his PhD in agricultural economics from Oklahoma State University and a career spanning decades in the banking and financing industry, he has become an authority on navigating today's complex business landscape while remaining true to his traditional values. Welcome to the show, Dr. Mark L. Teague. Hello.
Thank you, sir. Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure's mine. This is actually my first live because I've been recovering from surgery. It's probably been like a month since I did a live, so I'm excited to be back, and I'm glad you're my first guest. So let's just get it started. I got some questions, and
sir,
let's jump right into it.
Yes, sir.
Can you share the story of your early life on the farm and how those experiences shaped your work ethic?
Oh, it was amazing, actually. Just think old America, 1800s America. I grew up in North Texas in the Panhandle. My hometown was Bovina, Texas, near Clovis, Mexico, Hereford, Texas, in that area near Amarillo and Lubbock. Farm and ranch background all the way. That was a homestead community. Most settlers came in and early 1900s. There was cowboys before that, Native Americans before that. It's very much cowboy country. The ranch country. XIT Ranch was a major institution in that area. And my wife and I grew up together there. We have a very traditional background. We grew up in the same community. We actually have a picture of me attending her second birthday party. Not second grade. She was 2 years old. So we really did grow up together. Both families engaged in farm and ranch for a living. So very old-fashioned values. If you don't work, you don't eat ethics, and very much making your living off the land. We grew crops, raised livestock, and that was our livelihood. Well, we married in 1986, started a family, had 2 kids, and in that time frame, the farm economy was very difficult. Cash flow was very tight. You faced very tight margins, high risk. So we decided to make a change in our livelihood. That took us to Oklahoma State University. I earned a doctorate in agricultural economics. I joined the banking and finance industry. I dropped the ag part, but I kept the econ part, and I built out a 30-year career, 25 after graduate school in banking and finance, and I've retired a couple of times now. So, but that early experience set our values. It set our mindset, what we believed, and our convictions about basic principles and basic character, and then carried that over into the very, very modern world, very corporate ladder and middle management and upper management, and then executive positions. And I retired as a joint C-suite officer. I was chief credit, chief operating officer, and then Melissa and I founded a couple of companies and built those as owners. So we've seen what has really shaped our view is that old-fashioned American experience, and then taking those values into the modern world. And more specifically, I was tasked in many of my jobs with building teams and leading business plans. And so what I noticed was what a departure from those old-fashioned values was costing us. It's immense. It's huge. So I had to figure out a way to get those values applied in a team setting and in the modern work environment. And that is what prompted mostly my book. I took notes on how I did it. I wrote things down, and then I just turned that into a book. And there are specific ways you can apply those old values. And I'm convinced that that is the secret to American success. We go back to the old-fashioned core values that we know to be true. They're tested, they're tried, and we apply them in this modern world. I think the value from that is immense, and we've lived it. Melissa and I have done it. So you can have both roots and wings. You can have your values steeped in tradition, And then you can fly as high as you like and achieve as much as you want, applied in a modern sense. And that's the heart of our story. I can't hear you, Will. We got turned off there.
I muted myself there. I'm sorry.
Oh, there we go.
What was the most challenging transition you faced moving from a farmhand to a finance executive?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the work environment. The incentives are so different. It's that simple, straightforward approach in farming in rural America. It really is. If you don't work, you don't eat. It's very straightforward. If you don't get your work done in a quality fashion, you see it right away. You'll see it at the end of the day. It's right in front of you. Your income, your revenue suffers immediately. So the incentives are straightforward and they tie right to the individual. Well, you come into the modern workforce in a corporate setting, it's anything but that. There's every trick in the book, every stunt you can imagine, every relationship trick, political stunts, and folks pulling schemes all the time. That was extremely frustrating to me as an individual. But through that, I developed a technique to address that. And I call it the impact index. It's the way to get down to fundamental human behavior, get down to what you really need. And in spite of all the differences that people bring to the workplace, you can get down to the thing that you need, the thing that binds us together. That's our plan, our business plan, what you're trying to achieve. And you can manage behavior to that. That was my greatest challenge. It was also my greatest discovery that it helped me a great deal. And I would love to help others. If you're trying to achieve a goal in these modern times, it will be in a team setting. You will work with other people. Very few things are done in an individual setting now. It requires a team of people. There's a way to bring people together and to get what you need in terms of achievement.
Awesome. So how did your academic journey in agriculture economics influence your approach to the financial world?
It was significant. I really, in the end, I went to grad school for one reason. I wanted skills. I wanted a set of skills that would be unchallenged. Now, that's why I went there. And I got that through the education at Oklahoma State University. It was a great program. It was steeped in economic theory and quantitative methods, tools. So it's essentially applied economics. How do you take the science of economics and apply it to solving problems? And that means theory and quantitative methods. So econometric statistics, optimization, those things are many tools were gained there. And then when I went into industry, so I was a problem solver. I went for that reason. It turned me into a problem solver. So I found myself in the strategy portion of the banking industry, both at the individual consumer level, product strategy, how you launch products and how you run your operations to make those work, and then blending in the corporate strategy, the company strategy. And that's how I finished my career, was a company strategy. Basically build a plan and then execute that plan and deliver the results that you need. So it was a building block getting to that. But my experience at Oklahoma State gave me the tools, basically, to make that happen.
Well, okay. So what core traditional values have remained central to your success despite the changing business landscape?
Sure. That's an excellent question. Let me focus on three. There are several, but I'll start with three. And in the theme of my book, I start with the concept of problem solving. Those principles are core. It's like a dividing line issue. It determines very much determines how successful you're going to be in life. And then I apply those problem solving techniques to all the major issues that a working family will face. And through that, you see several principles being applied. But there are three that are core that apply in virtually every situation that you see. And I have to credit my parents. They taught these to me. They made sure that I knew them with consequence and that I did them as they taught me. And I accepted those values as my own. And those three are: number one, be honest. Number two, be respectful. Number three, work hard. They drove those home, and there was just no negotiation. It was going to be that way. And I understood the value in that as I was going through adolescence. And then in adulthood, I just took those on as my own. And those three principles have served me very well. And that's one of the things I noticed in the modern workforce, a lack of honesty, a lack of just stating directly what you want to do and understanding what's in front of you and working honestly and transparently with the people around you. There was a significant lack in that. And I initially struggled with that because that was just not done. As I grew up and as a childhood, you could take it for granted that people were going to tell you the truth. And I learned as an adult, well, that's often not the case. They're telling you something very different than what is the truth. So I learned as a manager to deal with that and make the truth the standard, that you had to do that. So those three values, I think, are fundamental core, and we must return to them. The value of honesty, the value of being respectful, and the value of hard work.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. So, how do you reconcile the demands of high value finance with maintaining a connection to your roots?
Yeah, that boy, don't think that's easy. Don't think you can take that for granted. When you throw yourself into the modern business world and trying to find success, whether it's working a job, building a company, you're trying to seek gain and economic benefit. It's no holds barred. You're going to find anything and everything out there that will pull you away from those values. And I have to be open and honest with your audience. Well, the key for me is the component of faith. You look beyond yourself. If you just look to yourself, you are inherently flawed and you will most likely fail. And you get drawn away. I mean, the temptations and the pressures are just so strong that you think you could handle that. I would say you can't. You're not big enough. You're not strong enough. You're not wise enough. You don't know enough. You don't have enough experience. But when you root yourself in things of faith, you look beyond yourself. You look to a standard that's bigger than you. You look to things that are eternal. You look to those bedrock themes, things that have always been, things that always will be, things that apply to all peoples in all places, in all times, all cultures. They transcend the pressures of now. I found that to be invaluable. That is of high importance. Being rooted and grounded in those things, that's where those eternal principles come from. And here's a key point. When you have a toolbox, you have a set of principles you know and understand. You have a toolbox that is tuned for problem solving. To be a high-end problem solver, you must be a person of principle. If you try to solve problems and you have no principles involved, it's like walking into your workshop to create something and you have no tools. You're at a serious disadvantage. When you understand principles of life, fundamental foundational concepts, now you have a set of tools. You can draw from those to address whatever problem comes your way. That is quite important. And that means taking a view that's bigger than you. You need to tie into something that is bigger than yourself. That's quite important.
No, I agree with you 100%. This year I've dedicated myself to building my relationship with building a much better relationship with God, and it's
Yes.
something that I've been working on since the beginning of the year. Every morning I say a prayer that I had worked on myself, and I take time to honor Him and just to every morning I say my prayer, I meditate, and I just start my day.
Yes,
And
sir.
since at the beginning of the year, I actually wrote him a letter stating what I wanted to come for this year. Instead of a New Year resolution, I wrote my letter, and
Amen.
once I wrote that letter, things started happening. Things
Yes,
started falling
sir.
into place. Things just started manifesting for me because I had opened up that door
Yes,
and
sir.
open and let him in and started really working on myself, knowing that I was lacking
Yeah.
and knowing what I was lacking and willing to work on those things and show that I'm really ready to to grow and learn and become a much better man and become the man that I'm meant to be.
Yes, sir. Well, I couldn't say it better. That's fabulous. That connection to the divine, it is so important. I mean, there's a hole inside of us that you can't fill with you. We're meant to touch something that's bigger than us. We're made that way. The human heart is built that way, and that's important. So when we faced enormous pressures, things we had never seen before, things that were well outside of our experience, pressures that could get to us, it drove us right back to those fundamental notions of the divine. We're created for a higher purpose. We're made. We're put here for a reason, for a purpose. And then your growth just explodes. Your mind just can absorb so much more. Your capacity to handle stress is so much higher because you're not depending on you. You know that you're here for a reason, and you live that way. That just unlocks so much potential that you would never see otherwise. So that is a very important point.
What were some of the early lessons you learned in the bank industry that still guide you today?
Yes, well, that one is key. The team management. I would say to anyone that's young, trying to build a career and find success, here are the key components. You're going to need to find some technical skill that is in demand. So just look at the world around you. Just look at the things that are being done, things that are being valued. A key point is that, as you sit there and decide how you want to make a living, how you want to produce and earn an income, realize that there are some in this United States, there are some 260 million consumers. They have a vote, they have a say. They are the ones that will determine whether what you want to do adds value. So don't think you can just sit there by yourself and craft a plan for success. You have to pay attention to what's happening around you. You need to build those skills. And so you build that technical skill that is of value. Now add to it the soft skills, the management skills. You will have to have team skills. You can't do things by yourself. You must be able to function in a team. If you put those two things together, you will do very well in this economy. There are great rewards waiting on you. Find a technical skill, become the best, and add team management skills to that team in a team environment. You will do very well. There's a lot of money to be made. That was probably the main thing that I enjoyed growing up in the environment on the farm. It's very much individual effort. You could go for 2 weeks and not speak to another person. You're busy with your work. It's about you and the physical work, and that's very unusual. There's a chain of economic development that modern nations go through. Melissa and I were able, my wife were able to touch that in the course of our career. You go from, the very earliest parts of humanity, it's tribal, it's a hunter-gatherer framework. And then you go agrarian, farming. And then you go the Industrial Revolution, and then the service economy, and then the knowledge economy. And that's where we sit today. Well, those last three components are only about 260 years old. It's about 1760 when the Industrial Revolution started in the United Kingdom. Well, thousands and thousands and thousands of years before that, it's dominated by tribal nomadic experience and agrarian. Well, that's all individual contribution, those first two. You get into this modern world, you start in the Industrial Revolution. Well, teamwork starts taking over. You have to get into factory work. And then when you get into the service economy, it's formal. Teamwork is demanded. The knowledge economy, it's even more so. And I see nothing on the horizon that's going to change that. That is the march of humanity. That is the path of economic gain and increase in quality of life and in income and wealth. So you're going to have team skills. And that's the number one thing that I learned, and the change that we had to make was from individual effort to a team environment. And we learned some key skills out of that without sacrificing your values. A lot of people get into that team environment. You know what they do? They lie. They try to fool the people around them. They craft some story that's not true. They pull stunts and shenanigans. They try to deceive the ones around them. They call that game. That's a mirage. It's going to fail. You need to be honest. You need to have skills that actually work. You need to be able to deliver. And Melissa and I did it that way. We made that transition from individual effort to a team environment, and we did it with honesty, with integrity, and with hard work. And that's where I would encourage all those around us. You do not have to sacrifice your values to succeed in this modern world. You can hold tight to those traditional core values and find all the success you want. There is a path that works. That was probably the number one lesson that we learned.
Awesome. So can you describe a turning point in your career when you realized that perseverance was the key to success?
Yes. I think that came home. Of course, we left home where we grew up with that understanding, but it came home in new ways. I think that really started in graduate school and earning a doctorate. And that was a challenge, unlike we had had up to that point. And one of the things that would be driven home to you is that you have to buckle down, stick with it, do your very best, and then be happy with that. You don't focus so much on a particular outcome, except for your plan. You're working your plan. The main thing is do your best. Do your best. That is the most important thing. And be happy with that. And that is part and parcel to perseverance. You're not going to let pressure get to you. I'm going to do my best. I don't care about anything else. I'll do my best and I'll accept the outcome. And that's good enough. That's all I can do. So that value came to the fore and was very helpful to us.
What role has mentorship played in your journey, and how do you mentor emerging leaders?
Oh boy, that is an outstanding question. Let me. It's been interesting. I've had some experiences over the course of the years where you would be right next to someone where something has gone very wrong. It Things did not work out well. I'll give you a specific example. When I was in graduate school, a couple of my professors were very instrumental in my development. I learned so much from them. They were highly influential to me. And both of them, their families fell apart. They were divorced right there in front of me. And I did not like that at all. They didn't like it. Their spouses didn't like it. It was a bad thing all the way around. Nothing went well. But I learned something out of that as I watched that happen. And in deep discussion with both of them, it became evident what you needed to do to avoid that. And I took that to heart. As I watched that happen, I realized, I'm going to face this same choice. I'm going to face these same circumstances. As I build out my career, I can do the same thing. I can make the same mistakes. So I corrected it right there before it ever happened by watching other people go through that. And my wife and I, Melissa and I, had intentional, specific discussions about that. So that's an excellent example where you get mentored in all kinds of ways. Sometimes it's explicit. You're actually asked someone to teach you, and that happened in school, that happened in the workplace. But I think most importantly, pay attention, look and see what's happening around you, learn from things, especially things that don't go as they should, they go wrong. If you have to personally experience everything to learn something, that's a hard life. You got a lot of hard knocks. If you can learn by watching and listening, you are far better off in life. And I've had that happen multiple times, actually. It's two specific examples where things did not go well. Well, if you'll pay attention and ask questions and listen, you will learn something that's critical for your own life as well. And that happened to me. Those are very important lessons.
How have you managed to balance such a demanding career with your commitment to family and the outdoors?
That's excellent. I love that. Without question, that goes back to our earlier question. You start with faith. Whose principles are you going to live by? If you get wrapped up in selfishness, I don't know that it's even possible. I don't think it would be. You would be so wrapped up in your goals, so wrapped up in monetary goals and financial material things, it would be very difficult for a marriage to survive. and for family to be first place. But if you commit yourself to the Almighty and you let Him set the priorities, well, He's real clear about that. You know, family is He's the one that gave us marriage. He's the one that created the family. It's of high importance to Him. So His priorities and His values are going to take root and take hold and drive your course. I honestly don't think of my own accord that would have been possible. I would have gotten so wrapped up in my career and achievement that that's all that would have mattered, and my wife and children would have fallen by the wayside. And by the way, we're about to celebrate 39 years of marriage, 42 years together, if you include dating. We have 4 kids and 9 grandchildren, and it's a wonderful time with them. I think that all would have been severely impacted if it weren't for the fact that His rules are the ones that matter. His ideas are the ones that matter. So Melissa and I gave ourselves to that early, and we've kept that commitment through our entire life, and that makes a huge difference. That is a matter of principle.
Yeah, congratulations on your 39 years of marriage. That's an amazing accomplishment. Uh, God bless y'all for such a wonderful union that you have.
Thank you,
Um,
sir.
what advice do you have for individuals from humble beginnings who aspire to be leaders, be in a leadership role?
You bet. Here's something that is key. In writing my book and in the things that I care about now over the course of this career, to me, it's all about the working class. America is a working class nation. It always has been. It always will be. My passion is to bring success to the working class. And one key there, I think, is every one of your listeners should stick in your mind is you do not define working class by income. You need a literal definition. The working class is the class that is working. And here's the key to that. Melissa and I have been in a place where we've seen want, we've seen lack, we've seen very tight, thin budgets, and we've seen very fat, prosperous, generous budgets. We've seen both. We lived through all of that, and the volatility that comes with climbing that ladder. Here's the key. The principles that drive you, that underpin success, are the same in both places. Whether you have a little and you're trying to grow it, or you have a lot and you're trying to maintain it, the core principles underneath that of responsibility, personal accountability, of being good stewards, they are the same. They're not different. It's a big lie that there's some huge world of difference in the rich and the poor. We all need to live by the same principles, and if we do, we all benefit. We all get better. So I would say to those young ones in your crowd, the ones starting out, you want to find success, stop blaming somebody else for your problems. Stop looking for an answer from someone else. Be responsible. Be a problem solver. Buckle down and get things done. And don't take no for an answer. Set your face on achievement. Marry yourself to principle. Marry yourself to something bigger than you, and you're going to find success, and you will keep it. It will be permanent. But if you don't want to be a problem solver, if you think problems are a hassle, you're too good for that. You should not be bothered by those things. Then you're a child, and you're going to suffer loss. You're not ready for adult life. But if you become a problem solver, you accept life for what it is. It's a series of problems. It is my obligation and opportunity to learn how to solve those problems and reap the rewards. You will find success, and you will be a benefit to everyone around you. Everyone benefits when we all approach life that way. But don't look to blame somebody else because life is hard. That's going to get you absolutely nowhere. You're on mute, Will.
Again,
There we go.
what is one of your what is one of your proudest professional accomplishments, and why does it stand out to you?
Well, let me go. I'll say two. Two meant the most to me. One is when I was young. I loved high school football. It was that was my sport. I played through high school. I gave it up Didn't go to a college. I wanted to hit the books and focus on career. But when I, in my senior year of my high school year in football, I stood by two other athletes. They are the best athletes I've ever seen and ever played with. And I was honored with all district honors standing with them. That was my proudest moment at that point. That's when I was a senior in high school. Now, fast forwarding to career, I would say two things there. It'd actually be three total. One is when I was at Oklahoma State University. I was honored as the graduate student, the best at Oklahoma State, basically, and that was an open competition with all graduate students. And I was selected as the highest achievement among those. That meant a lot to me. I worked really hard in my academic career, and I had several published articles, professional referee journal articles, and I was honored. That meant a lot to me. And then what we were able to achieve in a business plan at my last engagement, I went private equity for my last 10 years. We were able to achieve a high degree of success in building a company and then selling it. That meant a lot to me. Just the amount of teamwork involved in that, and the number of people that had to come together. I was very, very proud to be a part of that. I had great partners, and we accomplished great things. That was a very proud moment for me.
Amazing, awesome. Sorry. What what advice for leaders who want to create a lasting legacy beyond just financial success? What advice? I'm sorry. What is your advice for leaders who want to create a lasting legacy beyond just financial success?
Yes, sir. Number one, get over yourself. It's not about you. Get over yourself. Humility. You have to start right there. It's about your plan. It's about your business plan, and you owe your people a very transparent, honest focus on that plan. Now, if you start with that from that premise, now you can start to lead a team. You can get people joined around that to focus in the sense of a true professional. Now, I have an entire chapter in my book on that, so there are a lot of details, but the summary is this. You have to get people that are very diverse, very different backgrounds, entirely different personalities, different training, different preferences. You need to get them focused on your plan. The first thing is honesty and humility. Now you can bring them together in such a way that they bring their best effort, they lock arms together, and they work on your plan. And now you're going to leave a legacy that matters. I would say it like this. If you want to live your life bowing your knee at the altar of modern culture, that is a massive, colossal waste of time. That is not a legacy worth leaving. You want to serve something bigger than you. And the way you do it in the workplace in creating wealth is you have a plan, a business plan that adds value, that creates wealth, and you get a very diverse group of people to lock arms and work on that plan and achieve those goals. You will get that done. You will leave a tremendous legacy. You will better a lot of people around you. You will increase their incomes. You will increase their wealth. You will allow them to achieve their goals, and you will have a reputation as an honest, trustworthy leader. That's what you want. And that it starts with those things. Those things I just described are not negotiable. Teamwork is not negotiable. Honesty, transparency, and focus on your plan is not negotiable. Well, there are many leaders today. They use deception, they use deceit, they use manipulation, they spin things around, they think they're really clever. Those are fools. We need to stop listening to them and stop giving them credence because they lead us nowhere good.
I agree with that 100%. You've mentioned your book a couple of times already. Tell us the title of your book and what inspired you to write it. And have you always wanted to write a book?
For several years now, it really came about through that struggle in my career and trying to find a way to bring a team together. That was the core of it. And then I started to understand the path that we had been on and what that meant in terms of understanding. So I put it all together. The book is here. It's a working man's guide, and the website is the same. Just drop the apostrophe, keep the a workingmansguide.com. It can be purchased right there. You can get paperback, hardback, ebook, and audiobook. I narrate it myself, actually. It's a nonfiction. So that course of life that Melissa and I took is unique in that sense of it crosses all of those major social steps that a developing economy goes through. We live those, and not many people have that experience. That was a fortune, good fortune of our circumstance, how we grew up, how our parents raised us, and then how we pursued a career after that. And the things we learned from that, it just struck me that that would be of value to a great deal of people. And it really is about the working class, just your average workaday fellow trying to find something meaningful, find success, build a family, face the pressures of life, and keep your integrity in the middle of that. That's who I wrote it for. And I think that you'll find value in that. A working man's guide.
Absolutely. how how has your journey influenced your perspective on the importance of work-life balance?
Well, it I would just say it like this: it has greatly influenced it. It's steeped it, and it's formed it, shaped it, and it's crystallized it. It's like a tempered steel. At this point in life, you must have it. Without family, without the relationship with your spouse, what's the point? I mean, what are you working for anyway? It That's the reason you get up and go to work every day. How foolish is it to get up and go to work and then sacrifice the reason you're getting up and going to work? That's a very foolish thing to do. It happens often. I have several chapters on family, and I refresh myself on all the statistics. You know, the lifetime divorce rate. So when a marriage takes place, and then you follow that over the course of its life, you know, for several decades, the divorce rate, if you include separation, is right up around 50%. It's 42 to 45% outright divorce, and you add about 3 or 4 points for separation. So in this modern world, when a young couple gets married, their odds are about 50%. It's about a coin toss, you know, whether that marriage is going to last a lifetime. And it's those pressures of life that come along that drive people apart. Well, why are you facing life to begin with? It's about family. But a couple other things that are really important, along with those statistics. First of all, family is irreplaceable. No matter how much damage we do to it, we go right back to it. People get divorced, and then what do? They remarry, or they retreat to some portion of family, their kids, their parents, their cousins, their in-laws. You know, they find some connection, because you cannot replace family as the social building. Like, it is the fundamental piece that is, there's no alternative. So why don't we strive to make it as strong as we can? That would be better, because it's going to be with us one way or another. And another thing very evident in those statistics is it's not a random draw. The number is 50%, but that's just all marriages and all conditions, starting from all places. If you drill down to the half that don't fail, it's very clear that there are distinguishing characteristics, distinguishing choices that cause the marriage not to fail. So if you make up your mind with that spouse of yours, you can take that risk of marriage failure down to a very low number. In fact, you can take it to zero. There are prominent cohorts of people in the modern world today that have divorce rates of nothing. It's because of the way they live. It's because of the values they espouse and the things they bind themselves to. So there's a lot to be learned there for sure. So work-life balance, to answer your question directly, it's of high importance. If you don't have it, your work is going to kill your life. That's what will happen. And that's very foolish. I mean, just stop and think about that, how stupid that is. You're working because you want a good life, but you kill your good life because of your work. That's dumb. Stop and think.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. What do you hope to be remembered for, both as an executive and as a family man on your Texas ranch?
Above all, an honest man. That means more to me than anything. I call it the way I see it. I say what's on my mind. I strive to be as close to the facts as possible, and that probably means more to me than anything. That's the number one thing. And you'll have to ask my wife and my grandkids. They'll give you a report card about how I do. But that's the thing that means the most to me.
Oh man, oh, amazing, amazing. But Dr. T, this has been a great conversation. I've had a great pleasure talking to you. But we've come to the time where you get the solo screen and you get to plug away, let everybody find out. Again, you can plug up the book, where they can find the book, where they can find you, everything.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Well, one last word, Will. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I want to add value to your audience. And for more details and a deep dive into the things we've discussed, please look up A Working Man's Guide. This is the book itself. This is the title. The website is just that. Drop the apostrophe, keep the a workingmansguide.com. You can purchase straight off of the website. Also look to Facebook, Dr. Mark L. Teague, or A Working Man's Guide. His profiles on Facebook. And you can also purchase on Amazon. You can purchase on Barnes & Noble, Indigo, Indie Books, Books A Million, several other places. But the website is a great place to get it right here. Thank you to your audience. I wish you guys the very best. Remember, in America, it's all about the working class. We need to take the working class back to a place of strength. I have a path. I have a plan for doing that. Please join me in doing so. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. T. Like I said, I've had a great time talking to you. It's been an amazing, amazing conversation. You've dropped some great nuggets. I greatly appreciate you for spending your time with me here today.
Yes, sir.
But don't leave just yet. Let me close out the show and we
All
chat a
right.
little bit off the air. But thank you so much. This has been great. I greatly appreciate your time, and I've learned a lot in this 45 minutes talking to you, and I thank you once again for your time and for really helping my audience with because this is something that a lot of Americans struggle with.
Yeah.
It's really like you said, the working man is the backbone of this country, and we need to really start focusing on them and helping them develop and grow them as well.
Yes, sir. I'll be right here. I'll wait for you, Will. Will, thanks again.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Thank you for another great episode. If you haven't subscribed or liked or anything, please do subscribe, hit the notification bell. I greatly appreciate everybody who sent all the love and support while I was out. Shout out to my real wise fam, Poppy J, Brandy J, love you guys. Shout out to the boss lady, love you and appreciate you. As always, big shout out to all the essential workers out there. God bless y'all, be safe. And big shout out to Dr. Teague for coming through and showing love and really dropping some home run nuggets there. I greatly appreciate it. And you know how your boy Wise does it. Peace out.